Hello friends, it's Holly from Chic Antique and welcome back to my channel. We're going to jump straight into today's video. We're going to be transforming my sister's bathroom. She lives in LA. I recently flew down and visited her and I did a couple projects for her. If you missed my last video, I did a pair of nightstands for her, and the video before that I painted some ceramic pots for her as well. So we're going to do a super easy beginner friendly tutorial for a bathroom makeover today. I'm going to be painting the vanity and I'm also going to be painting the walls as well as adding some new hardware to this vanity. This bathroom is totally functional, but it definitely could use some updates and a little bit of paint to freshen up a little bit. The vanity here is solid wood in the front, but the sides are actually laminate. So I will teach you how I'm going to deal with that in just a couple minutes. This is a super easy beginner friendly makeover. We're not going to be using any power tools or anything like that. Anyone can do this. And I do want to say this video is meant to be satisfying and also educational. So I'm not going to be talking as much aside from explaining what I'm doing and why. So if you have any questions, if I miss anything while going through the video, make sure to leave me a comment and I can help you out. We're going to start this makeover as we always do by first removing the hardware. Next, I'm going to be wiping everything down using Dawn dish soap, hot water, and a microfiber rag. It's kind of hard to see, but here's what the water looked like. It was fairly dirty. Now I'm going to rinse off that soap using clean clear water and a microfiber rag. And after that's dry, I'm going to be filling in any imperfections with wood filler. This particular wood filler is pretty hard to remove from your putty knife, so I'm using a plastic disposable putty knife to apply this. And after that's dry, I'm going to come back and sand it smooth. I did make a mistake. I tried a brand that I've never used before. I didn't think I would have any problems with it. I mean, it's sandpaper, how bad can it really be? But I do not recommend this brand. I just wanted to show you that not everything goes to plan. Sometimes things don't go your way and they take a little bit longer. So I went back to the hardware store and got my favorite sandpaper. So I am sanding this down with my favorite 120 grit sandpaper by 3M, and it's working a lot better. And then I'm going to be scuff sanding everything else using 220 grit sandpaper. Not only is scuff sanding going to remove any minor imperfections, it's also going to help the paint adhere properly. And then I'm gonna wipe back that dust using a microfiber rag. and then I'll use a tack cloth. As you can see, I made a huge mess. The sides of this vanity are laminate, so I'm going to be priming them using Dixie Belle's Slick Stick Primer, and I'll be applying this using a chip brush. I think it's kind of strange that the whole thing isn't solid wood or laminate, it's a combo of both, so that's pretty weird, but I always recommend priming, especially when you're doing laminate, so that your paint adheres properly. I don't want to get any paint on these drawer rails, so I'm going to tape them off. These little areas were laminate as well, so I'm just going to prime those too. And while this first coat is drying, I'm going to paint the wood surfaces using Silk All-in-One Mineral Paint in the color Conch. I'm applying this using my Zibra Chiseled Wedge brush. This is a synthetic brush, so it's going to help with brush strokes and making sure that the paint goes on smoothly. You do not want to overwork this paint. It does have a self-leveling property, so if you're over brushing it, it's not going to smooth out like it's supposed to. I'm applying this in one direction using long straight lines. Now I'm just moving on to the door. I am loving how this coverage looks. It is almost full coverage on the first coat, which I love. Makes my job easier when I only need to do 2 coats. If you've never used this paint before, this is an all-in-one paint, meaning it has a built-in stain blocking primer, paint, and top coat all in one. If you find projects like this really overwhelming, an all-in-one paint is going to make it really easy for you. Now moving on to one of the drawers, I'm just repeating that same process. Here I am capping off the edges and then I'll smooth out the center section. This wood is oak, which has a deep grain. It is usually still apparent after painting, which I actually don't mind. I think the grain looks really pretty, but it's good to keep in mind if you've never painted oak before. The paint just glides right on. It's amazing. Now, after letting this dry for 2 hours, I'm coming back for my second coat on this top area, while my second coat of primer on the sides dry. For the primer, you do need to let it dry for 2 to 3 hours, then you can do your second coat, and then that second coat does need to dry overnight before you paint it. So now I'm coming back the next day and painting all of the laminate areas. Now I'm just showing you what the second coat of paint looks like on the door. Here it's pretty present that you can see the grain of the oak. I personally think it's really pretty. I don't mind it. I'm also using a smaller artist brush. I found it was a little bit easier to get in the details in the corners with this brush than using my Zibra brush. This brush may look kind of silly, but sometimes it is a lot easier just to use a smaller brush when you have a lot of details to get into. Especially if your brush is synthetic, there's nothing wrong with using a smaller one. I'm going to stop talking for a couple minutes so we can just enjoy the process. Next, we are going to be painting the walls. I got this kit from Ace Hardware. I think it was about $16. It comes with almost everything you need, which was really convenient. And this is the wall paint I'm going to be using. And my camera conveniently turned off at this portion, so here's the before, and here's the middle of the process. There's not too much technique when rolling. You just don't want to put too much paint on your roller, and when you're cutting in with your paintbrush, make sure not to have too much paint on there because it can drip or make your lines not as straight as you would like. Now I'm just going to stop talking for a couple minutes so we can enjoy the process. This paint has excellent coverage, as you can see, so I only needed 2 coats. After doing the first coat, I let that dry for 4 hours and then came back and did a second coat. And now for the final touch, I'm going to be adding this hardware to the vanity. I got these crystal knobs at Home Depot and I can link them down below. Now this makeover is complete. Here's the final look. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this makeover today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this style of content, make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so that you can be notified every time I post. And before you leave, I would love it if you check out some of my other videos. I'll have my most recent upload in the eye above, as well as down below in the description. If you have any questions or comments, make sure to leave those in the comment section down below. I would love to hear from you. And I thank you guys so much for watching. I so appreciate you being here. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Now, how do I open this? How? Sticky. Whatever. Ugh. How do you open this?